Not too sure if anyone, okay, I'm pretty sure no one saw the other video. However, this is basically the same 18650 flashlight leather holster as the other one, except this is a different variation. The other one, it was a wet molding without using a wet mold. This one's very similar, only I'm going to use some wax to harden instead of baking the wet leather. There's a little variation in pattern. This one has right here some stitch marks or some stitching. Which I don't have an example. I think we're going to make the first one here today. I don't have an example here, but this is basically the same pattern except for a slight variation right here. We got extra stitches as the previous video, which probably no one watched. And the technique's a little different because I'm going to use some wax to harden it instead of wetting it and baking it. So same as always, let me get started by cutting out the pattern. I'm going to tape it to the leather. The leather I'm using today is exactly the same. It is a 6-ounce Vegetarian natural leather. And here we go. All right, got that stitched up. Make sure you got this stitch on the right side. There's a short side and a long side. Long side. Let's watch the other video, if anything. Here's the difference from the other video. The other one didn't have these holes here. But basically, it's kind of the same, you know. Just using some water to help make the leather a little more malleable. Keep in mind, though, you're gonna stain this later. Wherever you put the water, you're gonna leave some watermarks in the stain. It's not that it's not a big problem for me because I don't stain it one solid color. I'm not looking for an even stain, so there's some extra marks because of the water. Well, just going to add to the design. Or if you're going to stain it solid one color, then either don't use the water here or wet the whole thing down and let it dry. before you stain it. All right, so it's got 3 holes. The idea is just stitch around there and make some X's. I'm gonna go do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, got that set up, and sure there's a nice way to do it, nice pattern. I just haven't figured it out, but it's not a structural. Just get some thread through those, and should be fine. Last part is fairly straightforward. I'm just gonna, again, I'm using some water to help soften up this bend here, but you're gonna dye it a solid color. Just be careful. The water will affect the dye. Depending on the leather type you're using, this may not be necessary. Using a softer leather, this is an entirely unnecessary step. I just make it easier for myself. This is just gonna go right there, just like the other video. And line up the holes, stitch right around the whole thing, and finish up right there. Actually, before I do that, I gotta make sure I put these in. I'm gonna put the 2 snaps in and then stitch it up, and I'll be back. All right, that's all stitched up. It's pretty fast because I wanted to use 1 mm thread, which means I need to punch about a 1.5 mm hole. That's why I use this, because I don't have a stitching iron that's 1.5. I got 1 mm and 1.2, but I wanted some larger 1.5 mm holes. Let's see, trim that now just a little bit. Final trimming is going to come a little later. It's just a little. I don't normally use this method that much because it's going to harden with the wax, and I'm going to have to finish up everything after that. And I don't like sanding waxed leather. I'm going to get it as close as I can now. Need a flashlight. Stick it in there. Out there. Mark it. Let's see, where is that? It was there. There. Ooh. Let's find center. pretty good. Right there and right. Let's see. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go and dye it lightly. I'm gonna use some light brown around the edges and inside, and I'll be right back. All right, the mark on there, the two buttons on, and I got a little bit of light brown. See that there? Just touched it nicely. Well, not nicely, but touched it up with some brown. Didn't want to go too heavy because it's going to get darker when dip it in the wax. So I got some wax on the stove now. I'm gonna, pot's only like that big, so I'm gonna dip it in there like so, and dip the side in here, fill it up with some wax, and probably maybe 5 seconds this way and 5 seconds or 10 seconds that way. Then I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna bring it right back here. It's not like it's gonna sit in there, you know. I think like I know when people mold stuff, they put it in the water and let all the bubbles come up. I'm really not gonna let it sit in there. It can't really fit in my tiny little pot anyway. So I'm just gonna, maybe 5 or 10 seconds on this side, 5 or 10 seconds that way, and I'll be right back. Oh, had a little problem. The temperature that the wax was at on the stove was too low. So as soon as I dipped it in there, it turned all white. Had to turn it up a bit. So I may have some extra wax in there now because it was too low. It's low on the stove is not good. I have to turn it up to number 3. I have no idea what temperature that is, but just gonna wipe off all the excess that I can now. Then just stick this in there so it keeps the shape. The shape I want now. Because I have all this excess now because the temperature was too low of the melted wax. We're gonna have to clean it up a little bit by putting it in the oven. You need to be careful when you put it in the oven. If the oven is too hot, this thinner area right here is just going to shrink and curl up, and you're going to destroy whatever you're working on. I see that there. Well, that's got to come up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the oven for about, let's say 4 minutes at about 150 degrees. And I'm going to hope it's not too hot that this piece right here curls up. If it does, then I've ruined it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try 125. I'm going to go 125 at 4 minutes just to get all the surface wax, because when I dipped it, the wax temperature was too low. I'm going to get the surface wax to kind of blend into the leather, and then I'll come back and wipe it off, whatever's outside. I'll be right back. I ended up sticking it in the air oven, And the lowest temperature of that was at 150. So I went 150 for 4 minutes and it didn't curl up. So I guess that's a safe temperature for that amount of time. Just need to soak up all the excess wax because, well, again, as I explained, the temperature was too low when I stuck it in the wax and it just hardened as soon as it hit the leather. And because of that, extra wax got onto the leather. I was only hoping to dip it in for a few seconds on each side. Okay, got all the extra wax out. Now, it's still soft, so you're gonna mold it to the shape that you want it, the final to be. So, gonna get this edge straight. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but straight enough. Still some extra wax in the threads. It looks sort of straight. I want these flaps bent down a little bit so it doesn't catch on everything. Just gonna push that down. And that curve looks good. Everything looks good. I'm just gonna set it aside for about 20 minutes now. Let the, let it cool off. All right, it's been about 20 minutes, I think. I took out that piece there, so now it's got that slot there. Won't be too much of a slot, but it's pretty solid. Ooh. It's gonna have some stress marks there. But it's more or less done. You can see it's pretty hard. Oop, made some dents in it, but it's almost like plastic. And it's about done. I mean, these edges right here, I probably got to clean it up. Got a new technique. That's the first time that I waxed it, sanded it, and burnished. Never really done that before. Normally it's for a holster, finish it all up, and then just dip it and done. But it seems to work out good. The contour is really good there. It's not going to catch anything. Still like the two buttons, and it's pretty solid. So this is just a different variation, I guess, on the other one. The original one and the one that I usually do the most is mold it. Actually, dip it in water, soak it in water, and then mold it, and then stick it in the air fryer or air dryer, air oven, I guess, convection oven, and I usually put it in there for about 110 for about 10 minutes. Take it out, mold it exactly the way I want it, stick it in there for another 10 minutes, pull it out, let it cool off. And that's normally what I do. Hold on. That's how I get these. And the one I'm currently using, this is just, this, I think this is the one I made in the last video a while back. This is made just by sticking it in the water. And then the oven. So just some ink oil. This is made by water hardening, and this is made by wax hardening. And this is way stiffer. I mean, I can flex that a little over there. I cannot flex that at all. This is stiff enough, and this is way stiffer. I'm gonna have to buy a new pot, a larger one, because I might consider doing the wax hardening more often in the future. Gonna have to figure out the right process to get the edges done. But I'm like actually liking this version a little bit better than the water hardening. In any case, this is the second version. If you'd like to see the first version, the water one, it's just search the videos. I have a video for that one, and eventually I'll get this video out.